All right, guys. So I'm gonna walk you through my radiator support setup completely. I got you mounted in the vise, so I won't be touching the camera, so you guys won't get sick. Because I had a couple people PM me about my crappy, shaky videos, so I'm trying to avoid that. So to walk you through the fab part of what I did. So on a Chevy Crossmember or radiator support, you've got two strengthening supports right here. I removed those. I used an air hammer and I completely removed those. That way I can sink the intercooler right up inside of here. So when you do that with the Dodge intercooler, you have a couple of issues. First and foremost, you still have to worry about your front body mount bolts, these two right here. So what I did is I used all stock Dodge parts. So what I did is I basically fabricated my Crossmember to accept Dodge parts rather than trying to do any other kind of reinvention of the wheel. So I used the normal Dodge intercooler and radiator mounts. And what that did, that gave me the clearance so I could run, because I replaced all my body bolts with these 1/2-inch grade 8. And so when you put these in, you get enough clearance, even with a washer, between the bottom of the intercooler and the top of the bolts. Now, when I put the radiator support back in the truck, obviously none of the stuff's going to be in here because it's going to be too heavy. The radiator support, when you add in the intercooler, isn't all that heavy, but whether it's because I'm using an older Dodge radiator to do all my mock-up and fab stuff before I put a new radiator in, and it's full of scale and it's super heavy, or just the Dodge radiator's heavy, I don't know, I've never handled a brand new one. So I will put these bolts, I'll have plenty of room. Some of you that messed with these trucks before used to have to bring a wrench in through this hole right here, or a socket, and it was really a pain. So now I've got it. Actually, putting Dodge stuff in a Chevy makes your life a little easier in the long run. So, so when you put the intercooler in, I'm going to try and do this without anybody else's help, so stick with me. Usually I have this laying down on its back, or on its front rather. So I still have plenty of room. So when this is all bolted in, so what I've done, if you guys have seen my Rib Nut 101 video, I just posted, I know a lot of you guys probably haven't seen it, but so a lot of the tabs, a lot of the extra tabs that would have been used for the normal Dodge radiator support in a Dodge truck are going to come off. This tab and the corresponding one on the other side are coming off, and I'm going to use this little tab right here, and I put a rib nut. I've located a hole on both sides for the rib nut, so I can just run a piece of either a really long bolt, which I would rather not do, or just a piece of dowel rod with a nut on it. Either way, it'll work, and it'll be just fine. It's not holding a lot of weight. That's why I like these rib nut blind fasteners, because you can use them in places that make things for you a lot more convenient, and it's just so much faster. So spend the time to do the fab work, do it right, and it'll work out. Like I said, these tabs will come off. I'll grind those off, or what I'm going to probably end up doing is getting a new Mishimoto intercooler, just a stock replacement. This one's fine. It doesn't leak. I had it pressure tested. But it is old. I don't know how long it'll last, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Also, money is a big part of that. And if you guys are married, you know that you get yelled at when you spend a lot of money. So try not to spend a lot of money, and your life might get easier. Or you spend a lot of money and you just take the abuse. Whichever. It's up to you. I generally just take the abuse, for the most part. Now I'm going to safety wire this in, because I didn't buy the dowel yesterday when I bought my bolts. So I'm just going to safety wire this back so it stays in there. And also, to make these holes, wherever you decide to locate them, what's best for your truck, It's just a 1-inch hole saw is all I used, and it just slides right in there. Fits just fine. So, put this back in. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. I have it wired. I'll do it on this side. So doing this one-handed really kind of stinks, but I want to make a video so you guys saw what I was doing and had a good idea what was going on here. So there it is, just temped in, nothing serious. So I got plenty of bolts for plenty of room for my body mount bolts. This fits in here nicely, but the issue is, and I don't remember ever seeing a ledge. So you've got a ledge, basically a little step here on the Chevy crossmember that you have to compensate for when you put the radiator in, because the radiator is meant to slide in right here. There's these are kind of molded for the radiator to kind of slide straight down and in, which is perfectly fine, except for it's perfectly fine for a Dodge crossmember instead of a Chevy. So you've got to compensate for that. The way I did that, and a lot of you may laugh, but the old hockey puck method actually works really well for this, because it allows me to get a little bit more of height. These are 1.5 inches thick a piece. I also use them for my body lift, which I'll probably get some crap for, but you know what? If it's stupid and it works, it's not exactly that stupid. So, sliding this down and in. Locating that side. And that side. So what this allows me to do as well, since I use these rib nuts and I'm using the stock, these are just brand new stock replacement Dodge upper radiator mounts, allows me to worry about my clearance. So in the Dodge radiator support, you're not going to have to worry about clearance between your radiator and your intercooler air horns on each side, but in a Chevy you do. So it sits down a little deeper than you might want, but you also need it to sit deeper because you got clearance issues with the hood. So I've got it set down as far in as I can without it touching, because this plastic tank and this piece of aluminum are gonna come in contact with each other and it's not gonna be great. So this hockey puck on the bottom method allows me to get the clearance I need without monkeying too much or having to worry about reinventing the wheel every time. So I get the height I need, my mounts line up on top, and it's just a little 5/16 bolt. Put that in there. And Bob's your uncle. And my radiator support, other than the normal headlight hardware, is good to go. So I just kind of put this together to make my life easier. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be pulling this thing apart over and over and over and over. I want it to be easy on me, and my years of aircraft maintenance made me realize that engineers generally don't design anything to go together very easily outside of manufacturing processes. So once they put it together, they don't care how it comes apart or how much you got to rip your truck apart to get to something. So I kind of defeated that in putting this together. So obviously not a lot of work putting the intercooler in, obviously not a lot of work putting the radiator together, but I get enough of a step up where I can still clear my air horns, and it's a rubber mount. The only thing I need to fab up or figure out now at this point is how to put some keepers, something to keep this so the radiator doesn't want to slip out. Because I have about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches between the face of my fan and the face of my radiator, and if this moves out on the bottom, which it will because it has enough room to move here, and keeping it here. It'll eat, my radiator fan will eat into my radiator. And I have an original fan, which are, the metal ones are hard to come by. You can get a radiator anywhere. You can't get that fan anymore. It's pretty tough unless you know somebody or you found one in a junkyard. So in an effort not to have to replace my fan and my radiator, I'm going to figure out something on the bottom. And I don't know what that's going to be yet, but I have enough room. I test fit the other video of me test fitting this in the truck. I test fit so I got enough room between the inner fender wells on both sides for the air horns on the bottom. It's not much, and I'm probably gonna have to use an air hammer to clearance the passenger side, and I'll probably do both just to have that ease of maintenance. But overall, I think I've covered all my bases as far as install. I've got the height here covered. This actually sits about another 1/4 inch lower than when I had it in the truck in the other video, because I took everything out and I hammered out all these little ridges, and that was basically keeping the radiator up a little higher than I wanted. I didn't gain much, but I gained enough to where I lowered it about another 1/4 inch, which will give me a lot more room, and I probably won't have to clearance the bottom of my hood for the radiator cap. So the only things I didn't test fit today were the battery trays on each side, and I think I'm going to move the battery trays to the back of my truck. I've got giant toolboxes underneath my CM brand bed, my flatbed with a gooseneck in it. So I got enough room to have one of those boxes dedicated to the 2 batteries, and I think I'm going to do that because that'll make my life easier. It'll be a boatload of battery cable, but I won't have to worry about clutter under the hood, and it might just work out. I may not do that, I don't know yet. But there it is. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any ideas. I mean, obviously, I'm fabricating in my own garage, but I'm not an expert. I don't have a machine shop, and I'm not a sheet metal guy. So if you've got a better way to skin the cat, throw it in the comments. This video will also be up on my YouTube channel. All my 42 subscribers will be able to enjoy that. So thanks for watching, guys.